How's it going, everyone? This is Smitty, back with another NBA video. Today we're going to take a look at the 2021 NBA MVP race, and I'm going to go in depth on all of the top 10 candidates. This MVP race has gone back and forth between 7 or 8 players throughout the entire season, and I can't remember a more competitive MVP ladder. But before we get into this video, it would be awesome if you could check to see if you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. It's completely free, takes 1 second to do, and it really helps my channel grow. Also, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and comment, as it'll recommend my video to other people through YouTube's algorithm. With that being said, let's get right into the video. This is going to be quite a long video, so let's cut straight to the chase. Starting with my honorable mentions, I got in no particular order Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, Kawhi Leonard, Julius Randle, and Jason Tatum. These 5 guys couldn't quite make the cut into my top 10 because of either their lacking impact to their team compared to the players in the top 10, or their team's overall record. Typically, the NBA MVP has to be on a top 4 team in their conference, and if not, there's got to be a combination of a backstory and dominating play to make up for it. This was seen in Russell Westbrook's 2017 MVP season. At number 10, we've got Damian Lillard. You might be surprised at how low I have Dame, but it's for good reason. If it weren't for Stephen Curry, Dame would be a top 5 or maybe even a top 3 MVP candidate, but the fact of the matter is, Stephen Curry is just a little bit better than Dame. Sure, Dame is more clutch than pretty much everyone in the league, but this has little impact on the regular season MVP award. Comparing Dame to Steph, he just gets outclassed by the chef in almost every statistical category. However, Dame has had an amazing impact on the Blazers this season, and he hasn't had consistent help, so that's why I kept a spot for him in the top 10. You could easily argue Dame higher, but definitely not top 5 this season. At number 9, I've got Chris Paul. CP3 has been great this season for the Phoenix Suns, and it's definitely showed on their record. However, some people such as Charles Barkley are getting a little bit out of hand by saying that CP3 is a top 3 MVP candidate. The premise of their argument is how he propelled the Suns to a top seed from their horrible seed they had last year. At surface value, this seems kind of legit, but there's a lot more to the Suns' success. First of all, DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges didn't play much at all last season, so you have to take them into consideration for this season. Not to mention, the Suns finished the season 8-0 at the end in the bubble. Even without Chris Paul, the Suns could have easily been a top 6 seed in the West, but people are acting like they would have been lottery bound. I still see the case for CP3, but his stats and impact on the Suns isn't all what it seems. At number 8, I've got Jimmy Butler. Butler was out at the beginning of the season, and the Heat were one of the worst teams in the NBA. As soon as Jimmy got back, he propelled the Heat into the playoffs above .500. Despite only playing in 42 games so far this season, his impact on the Heat has been exponential. This is exactly what you look for in an MVP candidate, someone who can impact their team more than pretty much anyone else in the league. And Jimmy is definitely up there when it comes to impact, not only on the floor, but in defining the Heat's culture off the court. The only thing holding Jimmy back from the top 5 MVP candidates are his individual stats. Unfortunately, Jimmy's individual stats aren't stellar for an MVP candidate. The most glaring part of it is his 3-point percentage at an abysmal 23%. Even with these holes in his MVP case, Jimmy 100% deserves consideration due to his sheer impact with the Heat. With the Heat, Jimmy has bolstered a 22-13 record, which would be on pace for 3rd in the East over a whole season. Without him, the Heat are 9-16, which would be on pace for 13th in the East over the entire season. This vast discrepancy with and without Jimmy is enough evidence for his impact. At number 7, I've got Luka Doncic. At the beginning of the season, I thought Luka would be a lock as a top 3 MVP candidate. Last year he was top 5 hands down, and I thought the Mavs would take a leap with a healthy Porzingis. Unfortunately, that wasn't quite the case, and Luka was left to fend for himself. Sure, the Mavs are 6th in the West, but Luka would have to be hands down the best player in the league to win the MVP award this season with the Mavs' mediocre record. There are just so many more candidates this year, and I don't think Luka is ready to win one yet. He would need to finish the season possessed in order to be a top 3 candidate. Still, Luka has put up a monster season that just can't be ignored. He fills up the stat sheet every single night, but it just hasn't translated to a top 4 record. Not that it's Luka's fault, he just doesn't have the right supporting cast. Next season might be Luka's year if the Mavs can get a consistent sidekick for him. At number 6, I've got Joel Embiid. Embiid is the NBA's most valuable player when healthy. The key word is when. Embiid has only played in 39 games this year and is still considered a top-notch MVP candidate. This speaks volumes to his impact on the court. Averaging all-time great numbers at the center position, Embiid is practically unstoppable. It will be interesting how MVP voters value Embiid's impact on the court versus the amount of games he's played. I personally think the MVP has to play most of the games, but I still admire what Embiid has accomplished this season. If this man could just stay healthy, the league would be over. At number 5, I've got Giannis onto the... You know what? Let's just call him Giannis. Giannis is the reigning back-to-back MVP and has had a solid case to three-peat. The only problem is voter fatigue. Voter fatigue is when people get bored or tired voting for the same player every single year. Because of this, Giannis will probably not win the MVP this season. He would have had to step up his game to another notch, but he just remained stagnant. 29, 11, and 6 is very, very solid, but it's not quite enough to solidify himself as a top 3 candidate. There are a few other players putting up comparable stats that don't have voter fatigue attached to their name. At number 4, I've got LeBron James. King James has been injured for the last month and has missed a substantial amount of games. However, he is expected to return very soon and will probably play in over 10 more games to finish this season. With LeBron, the Lakers are 28-13, which would put them at the 4th seed in the West over the entire season. Without LeBron, they are 7-11, which would put them at the 12th seed in the West. This impact LeBron has on the Lakers is very substantial, about the same as Jimmy Butler. However, LeBron's stat line is significantly better than Butler's. LeBron has a very solid MVP case if he can play the remainder of the season, and that's why I got him at number 4. At number 3, I've got Stephen Curry. Steph had a relatively slow start to the season, but recently he's been absolutely torching the league. Over the last month, Steph has averaged 38 points per game, and the Warriors won 8 of those 13 games. If Steph can keep this absurd scoring streak until the end of the year, he will finish the season averaging 34 points per game. Obviously, that's a little unrealistic, but if it happens, I believe Steph will be the front runner for the MVP award. Regardless, Steph has put up MVP caliber numbers on a playoff team, and that would deserve the award if he wins it. At number 2, I've got James Harden. Fear the Beard has been the glue man for the Nets, and their record is a direct example of Harden's impact. James has shown how flexible he can be this season. He can play point guard, shooting guard, small forward, can be the number 1, 2, or 3rd option, and he can conduct an offense or play iso ball. Harden's versatility is off the charts, and he was exactly what the Nets needed to be a championship favorite. If Harden started the season with the Nets, I think he would be the no-brainer option for the MVP. However, he had to get his way out of Houston, and it sacrificed some games. The Nets are the top seed in the East, and Harden has been ballin', so who's to say he doesn't deserve to be top 3 in the conversation? At number 1, on my 2021 NBA MVP ladder, I got Nikola Jokic. This should be no surprise to anyone, Nikola Jokic is the favorite for pretty much everyone. He's played in every single game this season, and has consistently been the best. His stat line is absurd, his efficiency is mental, and oh my god, his PER is at an all-time great level. There are no holes in Jokic's MVP case. Not to mention, the Nuggets are the 4th seed in the stacked Western Conference. Take a look at these graphs I've made, including the top 10 MVP candidates and where Jokic is placed. Jokic is first in games played, first in PER, first in field goal percentage, second in 3-point percentage, and still has solid per game stats. If you still don't think Jokic deserves the MVP, I don't know what to think. But let me know in the comments what you think about my top 10 NBA MVP candidates. Did I leave anyone out? Does someone need a bump? Let me know down below. I'd love to see what you guys think. But anyways, this is Smitty, signing off.